So today I will be starting a new topic, that is laws of motion. So I think you might be aware with what is mass and what is weight. Let's have a look into it. Suppose the mass of any body is given. Suppose leave it. So mass and weight we will be discussing. So it is what is mass? It is the quantity of matter which a body contains. Means you can say mass of a body is the quantity of matter contained in it. And what is weight? Uh, what is its unit? Its unit is kg. And what is weight? So we can say that weight of a body is the force exerted by earth on the body. Okay, so I think you might be aware with gravity, that is g. So what weight is equal to? Weight is equal to mass into gravity. This is mass, the same thing that we mentioned here. Okay, so like at some place, suppose at some place, at place one, or you can say suppose in somewhere on the earth, suppose in USA, you can say. Uh, Let us suppose, remember this thing, what I am assume that the gravity value in g value in USA is 9, and in India suppose g value is, suppose it's 10. So what I am assuming, actually it's an assumption, assuming that g in USA is 9 and g in India is 10. So like some body have some body have mass, suppose 5 kg. What would be its weight? So you can say in America its weight would be, weight in USA will be, what it be, 5 into 9. 5 into 9 is equal to 45. And what would be the weight in India? That would be 5 into 10, that is equal to 50. So you can see here that the body, two bodies having the same mass, means here you can see that the mass is same but their weights are different. What here we concluded that masses are same but their weight are different. Why is it so? Because the weight depends on the value of G. That's the main thing. Okay. So a body means two body means you can say that masses can be same, but their weights can be different. That depends. Weight depends as weight depends upon the value of G, that is gravity. So this is the main thing, means what exactly mass is. That's the mass of a body is the quantity of matter contained in it. And what is weight? That is force, you can say. Okay, that is force, means force exerted by earth on the body, means you can say W is equal to mg. That is mg, you can say, where m is the mass, g is the gravity. Okay, so like different places have different weights. I told you here only that same masses are same, like here five mass are same but their weights are different. Okay, so let's move to another topic. So let's discuss inertia. So suppose some body is at rest. Suppose this body is at rest. So you can say the property of the body by which it will remain in the state of rest. I must say tendency or property of the body by which it resists change in state of rest. So what exactly it means, like yeah. So what I am considering that this body is at rest. So it will remain at rest, you can say, means that's the internal property of the body, which means like there is one you can say this is some state, like body is in rest state or body is in moving state. Suppose this body is moving, suppose this body is moving in a straight line. uh, Suppose this body is moving in a straight line, suppose, and you can say it's uniformly moving. So this is in moving state, this is in moving state, and this is in rest state. So internal property of the body by which it resists the change in state means if it is in rest state, means if it is in rest state it will always remain in rest state. Okay, if it is in moving state it will always remains in moving state. That is the internal, you can say, it's the property of the material body, means by which it is made of, that it means it resists the change in state, you can say. That's why I wrote it here. That's the tendency of body by which it resists the change in state, and state can be either in rest state or it's in moving state. State can be either in rest state or in moving state, or in general words you can say like if this body is in rest state, it will remain in rest state, means it will not change its state to moving state. Means if it is in rest state, it will remain in rest state. If it is in moving state, like if it is moving state, it will remains in moving state. Okay, it will remains in uniformly moving. If it's moving in a straight line, it will remain in its moving state. So that's the internal property, you can say, of a body, that it will not change the states. Means uh, suppose some body is kept at rest. Rest, you can understand, means what it means if somebody is kept somewhere on the surface of earth, or so means if there is, yeah, so if the body is in rest state, it will remain in the rest state, and if a body is in moving state, it will remains in the moving state. So there will not be any change in state of the body. That's the thing, means that's the property of the body, so that it will not allow any type of change in state. Means if it is in, I am repeating it again, the main thing is that if the body is in rest state, it will remain in rest state. You can say that's the property of the body, that it will not resist, it will resist the change in state. Means there will be no change in state, you can say. That is what is called inertia. If a body is in moving state, it will remain in moving state, means it will not change its state. Means it will not, means suppose if body is in moving state, it will not move by itself to a rest state. It will remain in moving state. Okay, so that is what is called an inertia. Okay, there are three types of inertia. The first one we can say inertia of rest. So what I told you here, that is the same thing here, that this body is at rest. This body is at rest. So it will remain in the position of rest. It will not change its state. That's the internal property of this body. That's the internal property of this body, which will resist any change in state. Okay, so that is what is called inertia at rest. There is another thing, inertia of motion. So I told you here, if this body is in moving state, suppose if this body is in moving state, this body is moving in a straight line. Okay, it's moving in a straight line. So if this body is in moving state, so it will remain in moving state. Means there is an internal property, you can say, of the body, that so that it will remain in the moving state. That's a uniformly moving. Okay, suppose yeah, uniformly means with a constant velocity it is moving. Okay, in a straight line. So if a body is in moving state, it will remain in the moving state. That is inertia of, means that is the, you can say, property of the body, so that it will remain in this state only, means moving state only. It will not move, change its state. State means rest state, moving state. Okay, so if it is in rest state, it will remain in rest state. If it is in moving state, it will remain in moving state. So that is what is called, that's the property of the body, so that it will not change its state. Means, okay, so that is what is called the inertia of motion. There is one more thing, that is inertia of direction. So suppose some body is moving in a straight line, you can say. So it will not change its direction. Means you can say, uh, suppose means there is no nothing. Means if a body is moving in some direction, you can say. Okay, so it will not change the direction by its own. You can say that by its own means. Uh, if a body is moving in this direction, it will not change its direction by its own. If a body is moving, so that is what is called inertia of direction. So again I am repeating, that's a very important thing. Keep this thing in mind, like what is inertia. So like if a body is in rest state, so it will not change its state by its own, by by itself. Means it will not change its state by itself, you can say. uh, that's the property of the body, you can say. That is what is called the inertia of rest. If a body is in moving state, uniformly moving in a straight line, you can say, so it will not it will not change its state. Means it will not become to rest by its own, you can say. By itself means body can't move. If a body is in moving state, it will not change its state. That's the thing. If it will always be in moving state, it will always be in moving state, it will not change its state to rest, you can say. So that is what is called inertia of motion. And in inertia of direction, that is it will not change its direction by its own. That's it. There is one more thing, that is linear momentum. So you can say that it's denoted by this. It's a vector quantity because it needs both magnitude and direction. And P is equal to M into V, where V is the velocity. This is what is called the linear momentum. And its unit will be 18. So you can find out its unit, like the unit of this is meter per second, and it's a kg, so you can say kg meter per second. Okay. So remember this thing, that is what is called the linear momentum, that is equal to mass into velocity. This one is mass. So let's move to Newton laws of motion. There are three laws. This one is, you can say, the first law. There is one second law, and there is an other, a third law. So what the first law says, like I told you, in inertia, that if a body is in state of rest, it will remain in state of rest. If a body is in moving state, it will remain in moving state. Means yeah, it will remain in moving state. So what the first law of Newton says, that if a body is in, you can say, moving state, it will always remain moving state. Okay, and if body is at rest, it will always remains at rest until unless some external force is applied on it. That's the main thing he added. That's the main part he added. Until unless some external force is applied on it. So, what the this thing we already discussed in inertia. Means if a body is in moving state, it will not change its state, and if a body is in steady state or rest state, it will remain in the rest state. So here, what uh, what Newton first law added one more thing, that it will not change its state, you can say, until or unless some external force is applied on it. So means if a body is moving in some uniformly moving, you can say, so if some external force is applied, some external force is applied on this body, it will change its state. Okay, so like if a body is at rest, means if some force is applied on this body, so it will start moving. Means from rest it changed to moving state. So here you can say he added one more thing, that is, it will not change its state until or unless some external force is applied on it. Means in inertia only added the thing, that is what is called, when we are going to apply some force, then only the state of body will change. Okay, that's the main thing. That's the fourth part he added in inertia concept in its first law. Okay, now there is a second law also. So one thing I discussed, that is linear momentum. So what second law says, that rate of change of linear momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. Like I told you, like linear momentum, what is P is equal to mv, I told you, na? That's the thing I told you. So here what it says that dp over dt, that's the rate of rate of change of linear momentum. What is this part? Dp over dt. And what it says uh, is directly proportional to the force. So what it will be equal to? This is equal to force. So this dp over dt is equal to f. This dp over dt means rate of change of linear momentum is directly proportional to force applied. So this is Newton's second law. And what third law says, yeah, what third law says, in every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so means like in human nature only, suppose someone slaps someone, so he will be slapped by that person in response. So that is action. Someone did some action and he will get some reaction. So that's you can say that's not part of a third law of Newton third law, but like suppose your body is kept on some surface. This is you can say earth. So this body might be exerting some force on this earth, and this earth might be exerting some force on this body. So this one is earth and this one is body. So what you can say, this is what is called Newton third law. Like this body is acting some force on earth, means in other word you can say this body is trying to push the earth, you can say, and this earth is also pushing the body, means this body is pushing, you can say, I will draw it like this body is pushing earth in this direction and earth is pushing the body in this direction. So like this here one thing is action and other thing is reaction, means this body is doing the action and the earth is doing the reaction. You can say this is action, like pushing the earth or exerting force on earth, that is what is called as action, and this one is called as reaction. So like these are the Newton laws of motion, the first law, second law, third law. So like you can say that's means in first law there is nothing, that's an extension of inertia definition, and main thing is Newton's second law and third law. So in Newton's second law there is rate of change of linear momentum, that is dp over dt is equal to force applied, and what third law says that in every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So let's check out the second law. There is one thing, I think, 1 minute. So I told you this, that this is linear momentum. This is linear momentum. I am discussing this second law. Okay. So P is equal to M into V. Let's differentiate it. So it will become dP over dt is equal to mass, that is constant, M dV over dt. What is dV over dt? That I told you initially, that is what is called acceleration, because it is velocity. dV over dt is acceleration, so it will become m into a. And what here we have, dP over dt, that is equal to force. So you can see here, this force is equal to m a. Okay, so I think we are familiar with this thing, that force is equal to m into a. Now let's see the action reaction part. Actually, you will come across these things in numerical part. So like suppose this is some ceiling, you can say, and this some string, and this is mass, some mass body, you can say. So here you can see, suppose the mass of this body is mg, it will x downward. There will be, you can say, some tension in string. So this will be the tension in this direction, and this will be this tension in this direction. That is also, you can say, uh, action and reaction pair, you can say. Because you can say, like this, like this one is also TD. 1 minute. It's your string. Okay, so there will be some tension in the string. So what would be the tension in this string? That is denoted by T, and the you can see here that it will be denoted like this: T in this direction. When you are going to, there will be one free body diagram thing we'll be discussing with more of the examples, but for the right, for the time being, remember this thing: free body diagram. So when you are going to draw the free body diagram of this section, so you will see it like this. Suppose this is your body. So when you are going to draw the free body diagram of this body, so you will see that it will be like this, it will be like this, mg. And what about the support? It will be like this. So this is, you can say, a separate section, you can say. This is the free body diagram that we will be using more and more as our lecture will moves on. As we'll move on in new things, we will be using more and more this free body diagram part. Okay, so free body diagram is also called as FBD. Okay, free body diagram. So this is what is called the free body diagram. You can see here that for mass, I like here I told you that this is the string. So and this is your body. So this is the free body diagram of the body, and this is the free body diagram of this ceiling, you can say. So it will be like this. So this is, you can say that I showed here two tensions, one in this direction and one in this direction. So you can see here easily that why I showed two tensions. One is for the that is the ceiling support, you can say, and one is for the body. Both have the same tension. Okay, so we can also write, like for this part we can write, you can see a T in upward direction, and it is balanced by, because the thing is that body is in equilibrium, it's not moving, it's in a state of rest. So what it will be, it's in state of rest, you can say. It's in state of rest, it's in equilibrium. So like this, T will be equal to mg. Okay, got it. Let's show you another example. Suppose this is your earth, and this is some body kept over it. So I told you that there will be mg, somewhere mg will act downward. Now I told you here only that it is going to exert some force, and the earth will going to exert some force over it. Okay, so how it will look? Let's draw the free body diagram of this figure. So I told you, like for body, what would be, it would be like this. This is what is called as normal reaction. This is reaction, you can say, normal reaction. I told you here that in every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So what would be the free body diagram of earth? Like here it will be mg will be there. Let me draw with different color. Mg will be acting downward, and this normal reaction will be acting upward. there will be normal reaction in this direction. So that is also a part of normal. That is also part. The thing is, this is what is called as normal reaction. So, like here, I told you that this body, if this body is kept on the surface of Earth, it will put some force on Earth. So, this is the normal force that it is exerting on this Earth. This is what Earth. Okay, and this Earth is exert an equal and opposite force. I told you here that's the reaction part. So, in this direction. That's an equal and opposite force, we can say. That is normal reaction that the earth will exert on this body. So here what, it is in rest, you can say this body is in rest. So what it will be, this will be n is equal to what, means n is in upward direction, mg is in downward direction, and this body is in equilibrium. So this normal reaction, what is this, n is equal to, here I am discussing about this free body diagram of this body. So it will be like this, n is equal to m into g. Let's discuss the third scenario. Suppose this is some inclined plane. Let it be fixed. Okay, some body is kept on it. So here also some, let's draw the free body diagram of this these two things. So when I'm going to draw it like this, there will be some normal force that will be acting upward in this direction, and there is mg that will be equal to in this direction. The thing is, let us suppose this angle is theta. Okay, so what would be this angle? This will also be theta. So this one will be mg cos theta, and this one will be mg sin theta. What about the wedge? Like this is the free body diagram of this body, and this is the free body diagram. FBD we are drawing, FBD, that's a free body diagram. So this is the free body diagram of this fixed wedge, you can say. So you can see here, this will be the normal reaction. Like there what we discussed was for earth, but here you can see here, this is normal reaction, it will be acting in this direction. When we are going to draw the components of it, again this would be theta, this angle would be theta. uh, so like this would be n cos theta, and this would be n sin theta. These are the components, means in vertical direction This in horizontal direction it will be n sin theta, in vertical direction it would be n cos theta. So you can see here this, that's also a part of action and reaction, means this body is exerting some force on this wedge. This is what is wedge, you can say wedge. Okay, that will be in this direction. This is normal reaction, or you can say same thing, you can say normal reaction. So like here you can say like this body is exerting some force on this wedge, and equal and opposite, equal in every action there is equal and opposite reaction. That's a Newton third law. So like equal and opposite, this force will be, this new normal reaction will be exerted by this wedge on this body. This wedge will exert equal and opposite this normal reaction force on this body. This is, that's this is what the part of Newton third law. Okay, let's show you another example, because these are these all are free body diagrams, and that you will come across in most of the numerical part. So you should be aware of this free body diagram part. Okay, let's look into another example. And there lot of examples are there for action, reaction, and let's see another example. Let's see another free body diagram, you can say that's the most important thing that you will come across in most of the numerical section. Suppose this is your wall, and this is your string, you can say, and some ball, you can say, some ball is hanging over here. So let's draw the free body diagram again. So like here you can see here, this is your ball, this is your tension, that is T. T will be in the string. I told you that there will be some normal reaction, you can say here will be the normal reaction, and here will be mg. Okay, that's the free body diagram of this ball. Let's draw the free body diagram of this wall. So I told you that in every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So the same n will be there, and that's the point. I am talking about this point. Okay, so it will be like this. It will be like this. Same T and T. That is in every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Okay. So this is the free body diagram uh, of this ball and ball situation. So when we are going to draw the component, suppose this angle is theta. So in this case, this one is also theta. So what would be the component in this direction? That will be t cos theta, and in this direction that would be t sin theta. What about here? In this direction it will be t sine theta, and in this direction it would be t cos theta. Like for this scenario, let's balance that this body is in equilibrium, it's not moving, it's in a state of rest. So let's balance the forces. Like this is in vertical direction and it is balanced by mg. This is in vertical direction and it is balanced by mg. So what it will be, t cos theta is equal to mg. And let's check out the horizontal forces. Like here you can see in this direction it is n, and in this direction it is t sine theta. So what would be, n is equal to what, t sine theta. So like these two equations came out from this di from this diagram. Okay, so that this was the main thing about the Newton third law. I told you Newton's second law also, that is also very important. So you have to keep that thing in mind, that rate of change of momentum is equal to the force implied. So that is also important. You have to keep that thing in mind because numericals will come across. Let's discuss the impulse. Suppose some force is applied on some body for time t. Suppose, keep this thing in mind, suppose some force is applied on some body for time t. So what would be the impulse? Impulse will be equal to this force into time, and it is denoted by j. Okay, it's a vector quantity. So you can say or like we discussed one thing, that is second law of motion. That is in second law of motion we discussed one thing, uh, Newton's second law. That's the second law, Newton's second law. What we came across was that F is equal to what? F is equal to what? dp over dt. When we can write it in this way also, dp is equal to F into dt. Okay, when we are going to integrate it, the one thing that's very important, that we should be aware about integration and differentiation, because that will come across throughout the physics. So I think I discussed how to integrate and how to differentiate. So uh, that is very important, but like you have to keep this thing in mind. So like integration is denoted by this. Okay, so like let's move it here. When we are going to integrate it, it will become this P. Suppose initial momentum. What is this P? That is momentum. What is this according to second law, what I told you, that force is equal to the rate of change of momentum. So like here only, in this way, like P1 to P2 it moved, and F integration T1 to T2 dt. So what this part you can say, what this part, if like suppose it will come out like this, F T2 minus T1, you can see it will come out like this, something like this, or equal to F into delta T, it will come out like this. And it will come out this part, it will when you are going to differentiate, it will come out like this, P2 minus P1, it will come out something like this, means the change in momentum you can say. Change in momentum, that's a linear momentum we discussed. Okay, so this is what, this is what is impulse, and this is what impulse is equal to change in momentum. Change in momentum means this is what we derived from Newton's second law, F into delta T. Like here I told you, this force is applied on this body for time t. And what is impulse force? This is impulse, that is noted by J. What is it? F into T. The same thing is here, F into T. This is time, and that's the time taken and the force applied. This is impulse, and you can see here on the right hand side we got the impulse. On in the left hand side, when integration, we will come, we will get the change in momentum. So like when some force is applied on a body for particular time t, so that there will be a change in momentum, so that's what is called an impulsive force. Okay, so like when we are like in general form, what we will say, like what impulse, like if someone asks you that if some force is applied on this body for particular time t, so they ask about the impulse, what is the impulse. So you will say that's simple thing, that force into, that's the time of duration that force is applied on the body, so like it will give you the impulse. But if someone says that initial, like some box, it says, if some scenario says like some force is applied on a body for some time, and initially the momentum was p1, p2, and final momentum was when p1 means after time t, the momentum was momentum becomes like there will be a change in momentum. So like it told, like initially when the force was applied it was p1, and finally it becomes p2, and so like time to duration is given, so what would be the force. So in this way you can find it out, like F into that's delta t is equal to p2 minus p1. Okay, so in this way you can find out the force applied on the body. So there are two, you can say, main formulas or main thing, that impulse is equal to force into force applied for some time, force into the time duration it is applied. Or you can also say the impulse equal to change in linear momentum, means J is equal to F into T, that is also impulse, or J is equal to P2 minus P1, means change in linear momentum, that is also impulse. So if someone gives you a graph, suppose someone gives you a graph that is force and a time graph like this, and suppose this one is t1 time and this one is t2 time. So this area, what is this area? That is impulse. Actually, that we can, like, if it's a straight line graph, that can be done easily, means we can find out the area easily. But for curved type graphs, that requires integration. So I think you might not be much familiar with the integration part, so I'm leaving it. But remember this thing, that the area in force time graph, area in force time graph will give you the magnitude of impulse, or impulse you can say. Okay, so that's all for today. I think we discussed a lot of things, and that's main thing was the free body diagram, and this impulse is also that will Newton first law, second law also, that's very important. So like we discussed, I think most of the things we discussed in detail, like from from Newton third law we discussed a lot of free body diagrams, and from Newton's second law we discussed impulse we discussed. So, and Newton first law, that's an extension of you can say inertia. So we discussed a lot of things, and we will discuss more of the things in detail in our future classes. So that's all for today. Thank you.